his claim to fame is, I'm the Whitey Bulger guy, right?
Whitey Bulger robbed banks, committed murder, dabbled in international arms trade, and even worked as an FBI informant. He was one of the most brutal mob bosses of the 20th century, and he lived a life that played out like a Martin Scorsese film.
And he's getting clobbered, and he's flailing around, and on redirect, he starts trying to deal with the no frostbite or all of this with, there's no evidence that he was put in a freezer. Okay. I mean, he went full Goodfellas.
All right, let's chop him up.
All right.
Where you going, you dizzy motherfucker, you?
I thought you said chop him up.
Oh, but Charlie's not here. Where the fuck are you going to chop him in?
Full on Goodfellas.
Was there any type of burns on his body that would suggest that he was put in some type of machine or environment where there was cooling, mechanical cooling?
All right, John, court has wrapped for the week in the Karen Reed murder retrial. Molly Line is outside of the Norfolk Superior Court in Dedham, Massachusetts. She's got the very latest on all of that for us. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Sandra. Good afternoon. The State Police Crime Lab DNA expert took the stand today and talked about some of the items that he tested, including a drinking glass, O'Keefe's clothing, the victim's clothing in this case, as well as a glass found at the scene, and found the DNA of the victim in this case, John O'Keefe, but also that of two other contributors. Though the DNA expert confessed under cross he had never compared the profiles of those contributors to two other men who attended a late-night gathering where Karen Reed claims she dropped O'Keefe off, that she believes he was beaten there, that O'Keefe's body was later found in the front yard hours later. Prosecutors say Reed hit O'Keefe with her Lexus SUV, leaving her Boston police officer boyfriend to die during a blizzard in January 2022.
Were you aware of healthcare data on John O'Keefe's phone before you filed the death certificate?
Consider the health data. I mean, give me a fucking break. And that was
so insane.
This has never been a change. The government is not changing their timeline. The Commonwealth is not changing any information. The Commonwealth is not offering anything that affects in any way the testimony of witnesses.
Well, I think ultimately it's to help the jury understand my report and my analysis.
Do you think it's helpful not answering the question and just diverting every time I ask you something? Do you think that's helpful? Do you want to answer my question, or do you want me to move on?
I think I answered your question.
I don't think you did, so I'll ask it one more time.
all in, super aggressive, as if everyone's a corrupt FBI agent going after, innocent Whitey Bulger, which is not the case. That's not what this case is, right? So screaming at Dr. Wolf about deleting text messages isn't going to get it done. Okay,
not in front of a jury.
Oh,
it was more or less to make sure the jury had an understanding that because I didn't physically inspect the vehicle, it did not matter for my analysis, sir. I wanted to make sure the jury understood that.
Don't hide behind the jury. I'm talking about your communications with the defense. I'm asking you specifically about your conversations with the defense.
That's two questions. Ask one question.
You wrote, I have a feeling they are going to argue I didn't personally inspect the vehicles. That's what you wrote, correct?
He is a master gaslighter. He stood up today defending his position when the jury left, talking about the defense discovery violations as he's moving to change the most material evidence in the middle of trial after the defense has cross-examined critical witnesses based on the so-called faulty data he gave them.
It's insane. And
is a dirtbag.
Prosecutors are planning to introduce data regarding precisely when Reed's Lexus had a, quote, trigger event. But defense attorney Robert Alessi said the government's expert is changing his timeline to align with work done by a prior prosecution witness. The defense tried to get that upcoming expert bounced from testifying, arguing that they've been ambushed with this sliding timeline, arguing that their case is prefaced on that timeline and seconds count.
There is no remedy for the defense. We will not ever be able to recover strategically or substantively from it, given all that's been presented to the jury.
The issue is that clocks are different. There is a clock in a Lexus that runs on a different time than that of an iPhone.
Yeah. He is an embarrassment to the profession of prosecutor, and he makes Michael Morrissey deserve everything he gets, and Brennan deserves everything he gets, given the outcome of this case. I mean, he is just making a mockery of what a fair trial is. And for him to get up and say that, oh, I just got this report. It's fine. I'm allowed to do this. It's not my fault. It's not a discovery violation. So I'm allowed to do this mid-trial. No, you're not, buddy. No,
you're not.
All right, as you mentioned, court is done for the week. Things resume on Monday. The judge is promising the defense a little more leeway in their cross-examination, but no pause in this trial.
He provided that report months ago.
Okay.
So if, as I heard Attorney Brennan, he's saying the reason why we're getting something on May 8th is because Mr. Burgess supposedly is responding to that. That was months ago.
Like, I work really hard to try to get people to understand, okay, that's not what we do. We protect people, the citizens of this country, by upholding the Constitution, because it's not the government
This is
that's
very
doing that.
simple, Judge. The answer to Brennan is no. Okay.
Right.
We are
Yeah.
on trial. We have opened. We have called witnesses. They have prepared. They have been prejudiced. And unless you want me to grant a mistrial, Mr. Brennan, which I don't think you want, the answer is very simple. Too late. So sorry. Too bad. Call your next witness. That's what a judge should do. And the fact that she's even entertaining this bullshit is ridiculous. This is a ground ball. Look, people come from different jurisdictions. Judges do things differently. If somebody tried this stunt in New York City, okay, every single judge would look at the prosecutor and say, are you fucking kidding me? On trial, after all these witnesses have testified, this is what's going on. And then you're admitting to me, oh, by the way, that your own witness said, well, I had to sink it to Whiffen.
Mark, you know as well as I do, if we had ever tried as defense attorneys to try to put an inverted video in and then put a witness on to testify that that was a true and accurate depiction of the Sally Port, we would have been run up
committee
flagpole immediately.
When the SUV was first pulled in, and you did indicate that it was fair and accurate, correct?
Yes, back then, yes. Yeah.
This is right after the SUV has been driven in from the flatbed after having been seized in Dighton, correct?
Yes, it was driven off of the flatbed after transportation from Dighton to Canton PD and driven into the Sally Port.
What, if anything, did you observe about that area of the vehicle?
I saw that there was some damage to the right rear taillight. To my best ability and recollection, that taillight was not completely damaged. It was cracked and a piece was missing, but not completely damaged.
Inaccurate statements, gaslighting statements, just it goes on and on and on. And what he doesn't seem to realize, and what, at least by appearance, the judge doesn't seem to recognize either, is there's only one person here with a right to a fair trial. It's the defendant. It's Karen.
What would Colonel Noble call Michael Proctor's title in this case? You think he'd call him the case officer or the lead investigator? What is your experience with Massachusetts State Police in that regard?
By the way, everybody knows he was the lead investigator.
He's the lead guy.
By the way, every other trooper or state police employee, whether it be scientist, trooper, was like, well, yeah, of course he was the lead investigator. We all knew that. So why you would choose to die on that hill and talk about, well, he wasn't the lead because in my definition, it's 50% plus one and all this other nonsense and all the parsing over the text messages.
And he also informed you, his supervisor, that he was going through her phone looking for nudes or naked pictures of her on her phone, correct?
He did not tell me that he was going to the naked pictures, for naked pictures through the phone.
He wrote, no nudes so far, right?
That is what is written, yes.
What did you think he was looking for?
Well, what did he mean? Well, it says this, but what did it mean? Well, I don't know.
You certainly did nothing. You took no action to stop him from potentially looking for naked pictures of my client, correct?
That's correct.
In fact, last week you testified that in your view, Michael Proctor handled himself in this investigation with integrity. That's what you said, correct?
That's correct.
Do you stand by that testimony?
The investigation was handled with integrity and honor.
Do you stand by your testimony that Michael Proctor conducted himself during the course of this investigation with integrity?
Yes, I do.
No. And, he liked the text, right? About, looking for nudes. He liked it.
Right.
Well, no, what I was doing was I was acknowledging it. Well, with a thumbs up.
Just acknowledging it. I mean, he didn't even read it. He just
There's a trooper by the name of Moore, M-O-O-R-E, correct?
There is.
And he disliked Trooper Proctor's phrase, his statement, "no nudes so far," correct?
That's what it says.
Did that indicate to you that Moore was disappointed that Trooper Proctor, Michael Proctor, had not found naked pictures of Miss Reed as yet?
I don't know what that indicated for Mr. Moore.
just acknowledge its existence.
I mean, you could have acknowledged it with a thumbs down, right? Like, hey.
And then you responded to the phrase, "funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone," correct?
I acknowledged that text message being sent.
You acknowledged it by liking it, correct? With a thumbs up.
I acknowledged it by responding with a thumbs up emoji.
One of the things a prosecutor preparing him to testify would be turn off the arrogant, smug bullshit, because man, are you arrogant and smug. So rule number one is this: take your freaking elbow off the rail. Okay?
Oh my God, that drove me nuts.
Just do it the right way. Stop the smugness. Don't give me the "I don't understand you." Don't fight over every word.
Was Lieutenant Fanning one of your supervisors?
Yes.
Notwithstanding the fact that a subordinate was on this text chain and one of your supervisors was on this text chain, you felt comfortable enough within this group of law enforcement to actually like when the subordinate refers to a suspect as retarded, correct?
I acknowledged the text message with a thumbs up emoji.
Buchanan was one of the worst police witnesses in this case I've ever seen, and it's stunning because there's no reason for it. If he were to have said,
measly little liar, dude.
if he just says, you know what, Proctor, he was the lead investigator. It is what it is. He no longer works here. He was terminated. When he's getting crossed on the text, and he just says, "Look, those texts were inappropriate. What about your responses? You know what? At the time, I was unprofessional. I regret it. But you know what? It's a bad reflection of me. I apologize. Shouldn't have done it." But no, this guy Buchanan argues about his thumbs up. And then when he gets hit on the evaluations of, relates to the public well, is very professional in his dealings. The guy is just loyal in service of the crown, and he just comes off as your classic state police Neanderthal.
Yeah, and it's a big discussion online too. Everyone is posting pictures of the shoe in the snow next to the shoe in evidence and saying one has a black sole, one has a white sole. People have researched that Nike makes a shoe that looks like that with a black sole with the white around the side of the sole, but the bottom being black. So there's a lot of controversy about that, and we'll see how it manifests itself inside of the courtroom, how far the defense goes with it through cross-examination, etc.
Like, you could see the shape of the sole, the design of the goddamn shoe, bro.
They're just a bunch of Keystone morons. And here comes this arrogant guy talking about shoes, and they've got two left shoes.
I mean, it's right. It's not only that he said he found it at a different spot. It was the same size shoe, whichever. But so what do you think was up with that? Because the defense never circled back and was like, can you, is that ever coming up again? Did that just disappear?
What is that, a left or a right sneaker, sir?
This is the left sneaker. Excuse me, this is the right sneaker from 34 Ferry Road, Kansas.
Yes, you are. Sure. If you could put the speaker back in the bag and let Mr. Brennan bring the bag over, please.
What was that?
I don't care what you say. That is not the same fucking shoe.
Is there a theory that a shoe was planted? Where did that shoe come from? Where's the other shoe with the white? How did someone have another Nike with a black sole? There's a lot of questions that it raises.
It doesn't take a fucking attorney to see that that's a fucking black soled shoe, dude.
I'm a little surprised, to be honest with you, that they didn't examine him and have him read the bag and read the other bag,
right,
tell us whose words it was, Michael Proctor, and just have fun that way. I would hope it would come up in summation. It's worth the 20 seconds when talking about, solo cups, leaf blowers, and other things they screwed up, not isolating evidence, not securing a crime scene,
Right.
not taking a picture of the so-called murder weapon. I would think it's worth adding in that they can't even label the evidence they recover properly. I don't know why that didn't come up.
Yeah, it's true. Because it's indicative of the entire investigation. I mean, it's like it was like a real-time example of just how much they've shit the bed with this
I don't
entire
know how you
case.
screw that up. I literally can't even hypothesize how you could screw that up.
You doing magic tricks here? Eklund, what just happened? What is that?
Foolishness, because that's not the same sneaker. Listen, I am not a sneakerhead by any means, but that is two different sneakers. I think this would open the door to like a My Cousin Vinny type moment in which you make a sneakerhead an expert.
I don't like your attitude.
What else is new?
I'm holding you in contempt of court.
Oh, there's a fucking surprise.
What'd you say?
What?
What'd you just say?
What'd I say? What?
Fuck about being right in the public's eye. I give a fuck about it. Right? I just need to know. Does Karen Reed and her team know that is not the same fucking shoe? That's all I want to know.
I asked Karen Reed about it after court today. Take a listen. Karen, there's a debate over the shoes. Do they match from the picture to what John was wearing?
Just look at the evidence, look at the pictures. I didn't collect them. I've seen that though.
That is a different fucking shoe.
And then there's another picture of two shoes side by side. The way that that picture is shot, one looks bigger than the other, one looks darker than the other, more dirty, I would say.
Dude, that is clearly a shoe with a black sole.
What was that?
Because who brought the first? Was Gallagher? He brought the first one, and I thought it was in a box.
I think it was
a box with a bag in it.
It was some other trooper who had a small role that they introduced it, who was present at the search. And I think they had him do it because they're not calling Proctor. I mean, it's just this is one of those risks that they take by not calling the lead investigator. And look, I don't know what they're going to do, but I really sincerely hope that the defense doesn't feel, well, we got what we needed. I would call Proctor.
100%.
He's beyond rehabilitation. There's nothing they can
Doesn't
do.
share anything specific on cases with my family or anyone. She's a whack job. Cunt. CUNT. States, okay, that's fucked up. She hot at least? Yes, she's a babe. No ass. Is that chick a smoke? Nut bag, as Chief would say. She's got a leaky balloon knot. Leaks poo. Funny, I'm going through his retarded client's phone. No nude so far. I hate that man. I truly hate him. Sergeant Mechanic liked it.
Like what?
Going through his retarded client's phone, sir.
Did the warrant say anything about looking for nudes?
Objection.
Did it say
No,
something for
anything
nudes?
No, Your Honor.
No, it didn't.
That would be an abuse.
Hey, McFly. You indicated 15th, correct?
What do you think you're doing? Hey, I'm talking to you, McFly, you Irish bug. Hello? Hello? Anybody home? Hey, think, McFly. Think.
You indicated 15th, correct? You indicated 15th, correct?
I respond, said the Alberts beat the shit out of O'Keefe, left him for dead. And the very least, it's suspicious. That's another animal we won't be able to prove. She's gross. Trooper DeChico, oh, fuck her, bitch. I text my wife, waiting to lock this whack job up.
Got mud tint in my shoes.
Oh, who's gonna be looking for him?
That's another animal we won't be able to prove. I called earlier. Mom was puking in the background. This is your livelihood. In the very least, it's suspicious.
I hate that man. I truly hate him. Correct?
Correct.
You didn't say I dislike him, disagree with him. You said I hate him. Correct?
Correct, sir.
That's a visceral response to someone who's just doing a job. Most important early in the investigation, because that's when the most things are up in the air. There's the cloud, the fog of not knowing exactly what the truth is. In other words, Trooper Proctor, you don't get to pick a suspect and then try to find evidence to support your choice.
Correct.
But in this case, it's exactly what you did, isn't it?
Rookie move, not going into a meeting with the ME and getting that homicide determination. Dear God, WTF, what the hell is inconclusive about the whole thing? Of course, it's undetermined. She was a whack job. Yeah, but there'll be some serious charges brought on the girl.
Okay, you got 10 feet, closing. 10 feet, easy. Okay, hold it straight, get against the line.
You were looking for naked photographs of Miss Reed on a Wednesday night as you sat in your office at 9:44 p.m.
There's a lot they didn't get in. The prize.
And I thought that was like, to me, that was the cue that they're going to call him, because they could have gotten like the balloon knot shit in, and just all the awful shit that he was saying, and that he hopes she kills herself. Like, all those things still need to come in. And I think that they could have gotten them in under the same guys that they got what they got in with Buchanan. So to me, you got to call him. You have to call him. You can't have him floating around being this specter that nobody really knows who he is, other than he was the lead investigator. Because you're right, Mark. At the end of the day, you need to be able to stand up during summation and say, hey, you got to ask yourself why. Why were we the ones who had to bring you their lead investigator? Because that's not how it's done.
This case is like in the national spotlight. It's on TV every day.
Yep.
And this is just a complete farce and spectacle for the whole country, the whole world, indeed, to see what an absolute joke the criminal justice system is in that county, and perhaps that state, depending on whatever else is going on. I mean, it's just embarrassing. And people are watching, trying to learn about the legal system
all over the country.
And this is what they see. And if those people are watching now, this is not normal. This is not how it works.
Not normal. This is not how the shit works, because it's a reflection way beyond that county. Because when people are watching it, and this trial has the kind of eyes that OJ had on it, and when people are going to walk away with this thinking that this is how normal prosecutors act, and this is how, more importantly, normal judges act, and it's not. Like, this is not how this thing works. It's not how this thing is supposed to work. And it should scare the shit out of people.
It should scare the shit out of people. You are listening to the Karen Reed murder trial on Kingdom
Radio, y'all. Kingdom Radio. Got to give it to him. Kingdom Radio.